Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another Walking Dead video. So in this one here, I wanted to talk about Daryl Dixon episode 2. Obviously with this show right now, there's a lot of hype, and this really, truly did sort of come out of nowhere. And really, I would say, honestly, a really great example on if the show is great in terms of writing and, you know, there's really interesting stuff there, people are going to be excited about it no matter what. Like, that's just really what it is. And I'm not saying Dead City never had that. It did. Really phenomenal show. I really enjoyed Dead City. It's just when you look at Daryl Dixon, the story overall that, you know, that's happening there is so exciting. It feels like it really does matter. And that's kind of like, it's actually kind of interesting because I felt like some of the CRM stuff, some of the Walker stuff with like, you know, just like the Cure storyline or like, you know, advanced walkers and all that. I thought a lot of that was more connected to Rick Grimes. And I think for the last couple of years now, we just all sort of, you know, threw all that together in one thing, right? Because The Walking Dead, well, it was the Commonwealth arc, right? It was just, that's sort of what it was. But anything with advanced walkers, anything like that that would be really exciting at all was like Rick Grimes stuff. That's movie trilogy stuff, right? And then we get the TV show announcement, this and that. And now we're looking at this Daryl Dixon show and it sort of has everything that we wanted. Like, this is the stuff that we wanted them to talk about. It's kind of funny when you look back at the final season, what was the thing people talked about the most? CRM connection stuff, Rick Grimes, and the advanced walker stuff. No one really cared about the Commonwealth stuff, right? So when I say, you know, when I talk about Dead City in that way, I just mean more that I think the story needs to matter a little bit more. Like, it doesn't matter that much on that show, you know? And so I think ways they can do that, and I will do a video on this, but I think introducing Dwight, potentially Alicia, you have some connection with the Pacific Republic, or you do something a little different with stuff in New York. You know, you start building that up in season 2, season 3. I think that could get really exciting. So there's a way that they can do it, but Daryl Dixon right now, this hype came out of nowhere. So let's talk about episode 2 because that's really what everyone wants to talk about right now. So before we go any further, make sure to be a subscriber if you want to get all my Walking Dead content like this. Now, I wanted to talk about some images that we got here, and this is all from episode 2. So this really says a lot of what this episode is going to be about, and honestly some of it's kind of surprising. Actually, some of it's very exciting, and that is the Isabelle flashback scene. So I thought a lot of this was going to happen later. There is an episode, I think it's episode 4, you know, a lot of the episodes are in French, and I think the translation is like something the Lady of Iron or something like that, and I think it's a translation to, or not translation, but I believe that's a reference to the Eiffel Tower. And I just thought that because of, you know, in this scene here, Isabelle sees the Eiffel Tower, I just kept thinking, well, she's going to see all of this in a flashback scene in episode 4, and then it's going to sort of mirror, you know, Laurent and Daryl being there at the Eiffel Tower and seeing that for the first time, you know, just what it looks like currently. And that's kind of just what I thought of, you know, the story overall. And I was obviously very wrong with that. So it looks like in episode 2, we're going to be seeing this pre-apocalypse flashback scene. And this stuff obviously is always so exciting. Whenever we get stuff like this, fans just absolutely love it. And honestly, it's one of my favorite things to get as well. Isabelle as a character, and I'm going to have to do a video on her as well, because she's becoming one of those characters that I could see being a fan favorite. Like, again, this show just kind of out of nowhere, and maybe it's because the budget's higher. I don't know what it is. I really don't know what it is, and maybe it's the casting. It probably is more that than anything, but Isabelle is such a great character. Caudron is such a great character. Like, those are two characters that I absolutely love on this show, and I could really see them being a big part of the Walking Dead universe going forward. So I hope that they don't die at some point this season and that they're around for season 2, because I would really like to see more character development there with those two characters. I think that'd be really cool. So we do see some shots, and we'll get into some of this stuff here because I feel like a lot of this, I mean, actually maybe not. Like, in my head, this stuff happens first, but maybe not. I mean, there could be a lot of the pre-apocalypse stuff that does happen, but there is some shots here, like there's one of Daryl outside of this carriage, and obviously we saw a lot of this a long time ago. Like, this was probably one of the first shots. I think after the final season of The Walking Dead, there was 3 shots that came out. There was one similar to this, and then 2 other ones that came out. One of a walker in like this whatever area, and then there was another one of, I think, where Daryl gets captured. There was something like that anyways. But yeah, we see Daryl here. At some point they get this carriage, and in my head, I thought they got this carriage after they ran into that group where we do meet that character named Lou. But I guess that's not how it's going to play out. It seems like, I guess, they sort of leave the Abbey with the carriage, which I guess makes sense, right? Like, I guess if you're leaving the Abbey and you're going on this trip, you're probably going to leave with a bunch of stuff. And obviously on their way, and it seems like it's going to happen in episode 2, they just sort of lose everything. So, yeah, we do see Daryl here. There's another shot here of, we have the new character named Sylvie. Now, we didn't get that much of Sylvie in episode 1. But she is a big character here, a part of this group. Obviously, these are the 4 main characters here, right? In this group, we have Daryl, Isabelle, Sylvie, and Laurent, right? We learned a lot about Laurent because obviously he's like this big part to the story, but Sylvie is a very important character, and I think that we're probably going to learn a lot more about her backstory. She was a part of that really, really cool scene in episode 1, and a lot of people are talking about killer nuns and just how crazy that scene was in, you know, like the battle scene at the Abbey. That scene honestly blew me away. Like, there was just so much just craziness, so much death everywhere, and I was not expecting that. When Daryl comes by after and he just sort of looks at the, I guess he would say it's a garden or whatever, but Daryl's just looking around and he's just like, like, there's just death everywhere, right? And it was just something that I mean, again, it was a really crazy scene, and Sylvie definitely in that scene proved that, yeah, she's a killer nun as well, right? Like, Isabelle and Sylvie are definitely like, they're not new to this stuff. We have another shot here of Isabelle, Sylvie, Laurent, and Daryl. And at this point, they're obviously looking at something here. I know there's a scene where I believe they're all on a bridge in like this area, village, town area or whatever. And I'm wondering if they're seeing Cauldron at this point here. Possibly. I'm not entirely sure. Obviously, they're going to be running into some stuff here. It could be walkers. There's another shot here of Isabelle. And again, this was the shot that I saw in the trailer, though Daryl's not in this shot. And the shot in the trailer actually features Daryl. So maybe Daryl just sort of ran up ahead or something like that. But yeah, some interesting stuff here. And then there's this other shot that I believe will happen later on in the episode, probably near the end, or I guess not near the end, but like halfway through or something like that. And we see Isabelle. All the characters are actually here. And obviously, like, we did see in the trailer that Daryl and them are just kind of hanging out here, and then an arrow goes by them, and then they all sort of ready their weapons here, and they're looking this way, and then I think Daryl runs through the woods after that person, so I think that's where Daryl's gonna get captured, and yeah, we'll have to see where that goes there. That is where we could get into some of the stuff with Lou, or some of the other characters that are going to be introduced here for episode 3 and all of that. So yeah. And then we have some of the flashback stuff that is honestly like the most, I would say, exciting, and it's Isabelle stuff. So we're sort of getting a backstory here a little bit, and we just see her really, this is sort of her reaction, I guess, to the zombie apocalypse. Like, I believe this shot right here where she's sort of on her phone, I think this might be, actually, let's go back to this shot here. There's this one shot right here. I think this is Isabelle. This literally just could be her, you know, at work. The Eiffel Tower could be, you know, far off in the distance there. It's kind of hard to tell. Maybe this is her just like getting off work or something like that. And then you go to a shot here and you see the subway, and maybe she's just kind of on her phone, like she's just going home kind of thing. And this is where she's going to see zombies and stuff on the subway. And she's just probably really confused. Like, what did I just see? That makes no sense. Then we get to a shot like this where we do see her outside here. She's just sort of looking over the bridge here. And again, a lot of this is just very, very normal. There might be some weird stuff where she's like, that seems off. Like, that feels very off. Like, little does she know what's about to happen, right? But to her, there's probably going to be little things here and there. And then we get this shot of Isabelle, and the Eiffel Tower is in the back. And if you remember that trailer that was released like a week ago or something like that, there was some stuff where we do see Isabelle actually reacting to zombies, just sort of attacking people. And I think that's kind of what we're getting here. We're going to see Isabelle's reaction, and I really wonder how much more we're going to get. Like, are we going to see how she became a nun or how she decided? Because she mentions in episode 1 that this was, you know, she wasn't always like this, right? Because the other nun was obviously trying to get her to kick Daryl out of the Abbey, because she's like, no, we don't want him here. Like, he's not like us. And then she was like, well, I wasn't like this before either, you know? So I wonder if we're going to see some of that here, right? Because Daryl and Isabelle, I feel like, are going to be very, very similar characters. You know, I think there are some scenes that happen, at least from that trailer, where a lot of what they're talking about, it just feels like they're really the same character. Like, they could get along really, really well. So I think that we're going to see some of that here in episode 2. And again, it's pre-apocalypse stuff. That stuff is just so fun to see. Honestly, I want to get more of that. I wish we could. Again, I mentioned it, I think, in a recent video. Like, I want to see some of that stuff with some of our older characters, you know, like we technically never saw Daryl's reaction to the apocalypse. Like we never saw it, right? If you really think about it, we just kind of saw him randomly just a month in. Like what was he doing when the apocalypse first happened? You know, that could be a scene that we could get. Like, I would love a flashback scene like that. This is literally the Walking Dead Daryl Dixon. Like, you could actually give us a scene like that. I think it would be amazing. Episode 2 looks like it's going to be a very great episode. It really does. I think these first 2 episodes are going to be very, very solid. I'm excited for episode 2. I really cannot wait. So tomorrow, I do have some videos planned here. I have quite a bit of stuff. I'm not entirely sure which one I'm going to be doing first because I have a bunch of ideas written down here. But I will have 2 videos out tomorrow, and then I also have a Q&A for sure coming out on Wednesday. So if you want to take part in that, definitely go follow me on Discord. The server name is Appetite for the Dead. The link is also in the description of this video, and there's a Q&A section there when I do ask for questions. Just post all your questions in there, and a lot of questions will be on, obviously, episode 1 and some predictions on episode 2 and all that. So yeah, post your thoughts down below. Hope you guys all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.